Hey folks, welcome back to Mainville ATV. Today we have an interesting little subject. Exactly 1 year later, we have the CFMOTO, my buddy Bobby's CFMOTO, back to tell you how the last year went. And it's pretty loaded, so let's get into it. So what's going on with this machine is we want to talk about it because it's been a pretty interesting year with it. So Bobby back here and his wife Ann, okay, they bought the CFMOTO thinking that it would be the machine for them. Now in this video it's going to sound kind of negative and I don't want it to come off that way. This isn't against dealership, this isn't against some sort of service by an individual person. This is someone's experience with the machine that we want to share with you guys and try to take it as with a grain of salt, because this is one person's experience, but we just wanted to share what it was all about over the last year. So it's kind of a way of holding a specific brand accountable for some of the mistakes we think they're making and some of the oddball experiences that Bobby and Ann are having with their particular CFMOTO. So we're going to get into the video now. The disclaimer's over, so let's get into that. Okay, Bobby, tell me about your machine.
Well, she's a 2019 Zforce, or Zforce, 800 trail, so she's only 50 inches wide. My wife and I decided on a 50 inch because a lot of the trails around here, they're pretty like turny, you know, like...
Yeah, pretty tight.
Pretty tight, right? So anyway, so that's why we decided on this. So I did lots of research, lots of research. I mean, there's some negative, I mean, there was some positive, right? But when I went and test drove this, it felt that it fit. So I drove it around the backfield for a little bit, wife drove it for a little bit, and it just seemed like it was just perfect for our needs.
So it was a good fit, and that's what you guys landed on, was this machine.
Absolutely, yeah.
So the trail width is pretty unique in the sense that, you know, you can maneuver just like an ATV. Like my Outlander is actually wider than this particular model. Just to give you an idea that how thin this thing actually is. So when you need maneuverability, this thing certainly got it. So these are all things that we know about the machine, but you've had a pretty mixed bag of experiences.
Oh, totally.
Okay, so for this particular machine and model, who knows if it's a lemon or what, but your experience with this machine is what exactly? Go!
Go! All right, so what we'll do is it'll start with the more minor things, and then I'll work up to the more serious issues that we've had with it.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay, so where to start? Let's start the suspension, I guess.
Sure.
Because that's what we talked about, the review of that. So whenever we did the review, I was talking about suspension and how it was like, the front of it was always bottoming out on the bump stops, right? And that was really a big concern of Ann and I. So I went back to the dealer, and what they did is they tightened up the preload a little bit, and that seemed to solve the problem. But then it started riding like a carriage, I guess. That's what Kyle usually prefers to his Outlander as. So, compression, and the bottom would be the rebound.
The honest truth is I'm not a suspension expert, but the point you're getting at is that you had basically this roll feeling to your machine. It was super soft, it was bottoming out, and on a 50-inch machine that's not good.
No.
Because you don't actually have that stability like a 60, 64, or I guess now it goes up to 72.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
So you needed some major suspension adjustments in the front mostly? Or
in the front mostly. The back was stiff. It's like I could jump on it and it would not move, right? But now I have it set to where it's pretty squishy now.
That seems reasonably comfortable though.
It is. So what I did then is, so the front shocks has like the gas reservoir, and then it has then the preload or the rebound adjustment on, right? The rear ones, they only come with the rebound adjustment or the preload, whichever is which, right? So what I've done is I put everything, all the adjustments to center. like dead middle. I think there's 13 clicks either way.
Right.
And what I did then is I went 4 clicks to the fast, and I found that that's pretty good. Don't go doing corners like at like a million miles an hour, because she still does have that tendency to do that nose diving thing.
So you have to be careful with the 50 inch.
Yeah.
I mean, look at some of the preload that had to go into this. And that's something we touched on in the first impressions video. So if you want to watch the first impressions video, I'll have it linked at the end and in the description, so you can see what we said before compared to now. But there's a lot of little things on this machine. Like, so suspension, you've pretty much got it to where you need it, and you're happy with it now?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's fixable is what you're saying for your year.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they've made adjustments in the last year too. I know they're still selling this exact model, so.
Well, they are. I mean, anyways, yeah.
So one of the things you brought up, and it's a pretty major issue, is the airbox. Can you explain that?
Absolutely. So for some reason, they've put the airbox right in between the seats. There's a grill.
You can see that's the pre-filter there. It's kind of just like a bagged mesh, like the water mesh there.
Yeah.
I already removed the cover for it, which he has in his hands.
Yeah. So first I want to explain to you the heat. So everybody drives a Can-Am, they know Can-Ams get hot.
Yeah.
They run lean. This thing here makes a Can-Am look cold. This thing gets so hot, it's like when you're driving, right, and you want to rest your arm somewhere along there, you can't, because you'll burn your hairs off of your arm, right? So a lot of heat.
So it's probably just the placement of the engine and a lack of actual insulation between the engine and you, right?
Absolutely.
That's probably what's going on there. So we actually had some tape here, for example, just to kind of help with that, just to deflect some of the heat if we can. So it's one of the things that can be fixable, but again, this is a brand new machine that you kind of have to make adjustments to, right?
Oh, you do, because, and like the placement of the engine, because like the one lung is right there, right? You mean, so it's just placement and where they put the air intake, it could have been in the barrel.
So not just that, but you were actually getting a lot of dust traveling up in there and actually making it into your intake.
Oh, yes. Right? Which, and that's another thing. So not only do you get all the dust that comes, like whenever you're driving behind somebody, you get all the dust, it comes in here, right? Because this is not a sealed unit, right? So all the dust that gets kicked up under the unit also gets sucked up
into that spot.
Yeah.
And you can see it, it's just constantly filthy. Like it's just saturated with dust constantly. So it's all getting kicked up underneath and all the way through. So it's sort of an issue there where it needs a little bit of a better design, some sort of mesh pre-filter intake, like something like that.
Enclosure,
relocate it. But then even worse yet, because of all this, when you have to clean your filter, how often do you have to do it?
Every ride. So if you do a ride, at the end of the day, you need to take this apart and clean the filter, especially if you have the factory filter still in it. We'll get to that a little later. So the filter is behind this compartment. So this compartment comes off. There's one, there's two, there's three bolts that hold it off, and then you take it off. And then behind this is the actual housing to where the filter is. Right. There's, I think, 7 or 8 clips. And you have to hold your tongue at like a 45-degree angle to get these off. They are a pain in the butt. Right. And then when you take that off, then you have your filter.
So you have all these problems with it, and then it's not even user-friendly for you.
No, it's not even like you're at least a half an hour cleaning this filter.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So lots and lots going on with the Airbox, and there's plenty of videos out there for, trying to correct this, because obviously Bobby here isn't the first person to ever experience that. But it's all the little things, right? With all these little issues, it's not a big deal. There's 5-year warranty. There's all this stuff going on, but those little things can be upsetting when you want to just, hey buddy, you want to go for a ride, and you want to drop your hat and just go, right? So it's those little things always holding you back that can be a bit of a nuisance. Yeah. So what's next, Bobby?
Well, since we touched on the air filter, do you want us to talk about one of the bigger issues? I know I said before we'll go from small work to big, but because we're still in this area, we'll talk about that loss of power that I was experiencing.
Was that also related to your airbox?
It was also related to the airbox.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
So fix the airbox.
Well, we need to fix the airbox. So what was happening is I'll be driving along, and whenever I come to a hill, you want to put it down a little more gasket up the hill or go a little faster, right?
Right.
Well, I'll come to a point to where I put it down, and the harder you push on the gas pedal, the slower the machine will go. It seemed like it was starving for air, starving for fuel. So this thing went to the shop about that, lots. I would bring it to them, they would clean the air filter, say, okay Bob, it seems to be all right. So I'd take it back and do the same thing. Then they thought that there might have been, because of the heat, because the fuel pump is right here, right? So
Your seat's easy to remove.
Oh, yeah. So they were thinking that maybe somehow the fuel pump was getting hot. So they changed the fuel pump. That didn't fix the problem. They thought that there might have been an airlock in the vent tube. That wasn't the issue, because every time it would happen, they recommended that I would loosen the gas cap and listen for any air that would escape.
See if it was building up pressure?
Yeah, right. And no, nothing was happening. So finally, they decided to do a little more investigation, and they took everything apart, and they found that the dirt, the air gets in there, was getting past the filter, and the intake and the two jets were completely plugged with dirt. So somehow the dirt was getting past.
But the machine was smart enough to put you in limp mode, right?
The machine was smart enough to put me in limbo, which is good, right? You mean before, I guess, you did further damage. So they cleaned it all up, and then the fix was that they put then in an aftermarket filter in it instead of the one that came with it. I said, cool, it came with the sock, oil, it was great.
And that's something CFMOTO's doing?
That's something that CFMOTO, well, that's something that the dealer did for me, right? I mean, so then they're going to make a note and...
But what you're saying is the dealer was forced to use an aftermarket part to better it.
Yes.
So like that should be a clue that these things need to change.
Oh yeah, there's lots. So ever since then, it's been great. I clean it out every ride. I mean, even if I go out for say like a 30-click ride, I clean it, right? Because I don't want that problem to come back. I had the old filter at home, and I mean, I was still boggled about how dirt can get past a filter and get into the inside of the motor.
Right.
So because the filter is so brittle, right, I found there was a hairline cut in one of the fins.
Quite a cheap unit, eh?
Yeah.
It just broke down.
Yeah. I mean, so now I know that the dirt wasn't getting past the filter, it was just getting through that cheaper made paper filter. Right. So whatever you guys decide, if you guys decide on buying one of these, change the air filter right away before you take it home.
But Bobby, it's not all bad.
No, there is a lot of positives that I absolutely do like about this machine, guys. I mean, like, there is a lot of like that negative Nancy going on right now, but I'm gonna give you guys some positive, okay? So we're so close to 2,000 clicks on this thing. We're like 1950, 1980,
something like that,
right? These tires are awesome. I've never heard of the brand before, but these tires have held up good. I do a lot of road running. I mean, a lot of road running, pavement and dirt. And these tires have held up good. I mean, they're not rounding too bad, they still have a good lug, right? And what's the branding of these again? CST Buzz?
Yeah, so CST is actually a big brand. They're the ones who make the sledgehammers for Cass's machine.
I never knew that. Cool. Okay.
So I just stopped by CFMOTO, a local dealership, and comparing that to what I saw on a brand new machine, like they're still in pretty good shape considering the amount of road running they're doing. And it's a pretty soft tire, like great for grip and stuff that. I expected the wear to be a lot worse. So one of the things I can say is they're using a very good reputable brand for those tires. So pretty happy with that.
Oh yeah.
And you had some other things you were pretty happy with, like comfort and power.
Oh, yeah. So, and that's like the seats are comfortable. You can sit in them all day long, they're made out of a really good material, right? I mean, there's a lot of padding for your butts.
It's a lot like a neoprene is the way it feels.
Yeah.
Like a water wicking neoprene.
Yeah.
So that's nice. And obviously cleaning is very simple. I just watched you rip that seat out in like 2 seconds.
Oh, it's easy. Yeah. You rip them both out, and then Let's talk about the power, guys. This is an 800, okay? She may only have 62 horsepower, but oh my God, that CVT clutch system in this puts it down hard. Like when you tromp on it, you feel it.
CVTech's known for being a good clutch. Like even Can-Am guys and Polaris
Yeah.
people, they're all upgrading to it. So obviously it's making use of that 62 horse.
Yeah.
I don't know how much more you'd want in a 50-inch frame.
No, well, and that's it, eh? Like, yeah. See, what else is good about it?
Has it ever actually stranded you on a trail? I'm curious.
No, it has not. It's always gotten me most of the way home.
Okay.
I'll touch on that. Okay, so wife and I, we were out going for a rip, and it started doing that loss of power thing.
Right.
So I was trying to get home, and there was a hill. I took the highway, and there was a hill. So I couldn't get up the hill, so I had to call somebody to pull me up the hill because I couldn't give it enough juice to get me up the hill. That's the only time it's ever left me stranded. Other than that, it's always gotten me home. Meaning it's always started. It just has not always ran the greatest.
So other than that, you know, you get all this use and you do have an issue, the warranty process. Okay, so everyone talks about CFMOTO warranty.
Yes.
When it did let you down in one way or another and you went to go get warranty work, was it good or bad? The experience.
Was awesome. Our dealer here is absolutely amazing. They go above and beyond to help make sure that the customer is satisfied with their purchase.
So the claim of good warranty pulls through.
It pulls through.
All right.
The one thing that doesn't pull through about the warranty is they claim 5-year warranty, right?
Right.
So I'm like, great, because I have a 2016 Can-Am Outlander. That thing has 5-year warranty, okay? And I have 8,200 clicks on it. And last year, my fan stopped working.
Rad fan.
Rad fan. And they replaced it under warranty. 8,200 clicks later in 2016. That's a good 5-year warranty. This 5-year warranty, it's good, don't get me wrong, right? But it's 1 year bumper to bumper, 4-year powertrain.
Oh, so like a limited warranty.
A limited warranty. I said, that's not bad. I mean, I can deal with that. I mean, because, it's a good product. In 1 year, if you put 5,000 kilometers on this machine, your warranty's done. It's 5 years or 5,000 clicks.
Which is pretty easy to do for like road runners or travelers or long distance riders.
Absolutely.
Which is what this machine's for. So 5,000 clicks, that's not a great number to hear.
No, it's not. I mean, well, look, the machine's a year old and I have almost 2,000 clicks on it. That's in one season.
That's a pretty standard season for somebody working a normal job. Like I get 2,000 a year myself.
Yeah.
So like that's pretty normal. We get out often, right?
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, geez, that means no matter what, you're pretty much done your warranty like maybe next year or the early year after that. So you're not even going to get 3 years out of your 5-year warranty.
No.
At this rate, a pretty standard rate, I feel. Mm-hmm. So that's a pretty interesting thing because they advertise 5 years, but you might not even get that.
No.
Okay.
Let's see, what else do we want to talk about? You know what, guys? We were talking about the tires earlier on. Let's talk about the brakes.
Oh, yeah.
So, the one thing positive I'm going to say about this machine is that this has 4-wheel disc brakes. Most manufacturers have the one on the back.
Well, that's just Can-Am, I think.
Is this a Can-Am thing? Okay,
but it's just the amount of brake power you need, so they put the bare minimum, that's all.
Okay. So that's what I'm impressed about. The one thing I'm not impressed about is that from day one, this thing, the brakes have squealed like crazy. It's because what CFMOTO did is that the brake pads are so hard, right? There's so much metal flake in it, is what I'm understanding, is that they get hard and they squeal and...
Pretty standard, even on automotive brakes, like that's what happens. So the squeal has a reason, and it's just density on the brakes.
Yeah.
But they tried to fix it, right?
They tried to fix it. So what the dealer did, again, above and beyond, they took off all the brakes and they put that taper on the edge, and then they did the cross hatching to try and quiet it down. And to be honest, since then I haven't really driven the machine much. And so we're going to really find out today, you know, if
It's still squeaking or
it's
not.
still squeaking or not.
But one of the other things you showed me kind of has me concerned, the guide pins
Yes.
on the calipers.
So I'll do a little story. So I was hearing a bit of a click, click, click noise in this tire, right? And when you hear click, 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 usually it's the axle, right? But when this is the dealer, they found out that this caliper here was actually over loose. So whenever I would go in reverse and I would slow down, it would chatter, right? So I said, cool. So they said that it's all tightened up and all good to go. When I'll explain to Kyle about this, I'm like, yeah, like, you know, it's all tight. And if you noticed,
So it's still moving on those guide pins, and it's
Yeah.
not just that one. It's not like a broken item. It's happening on both.
no, like we can even go over to this side here and right, like there is some play.
So it's a matter of those guide pins like being too loose, because it has to have that guided area. It's just like
Yeah.
any other caliper system.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's knocking around and it's loose, and that's where your e-brake is too. So you hear that when you're riding, right?
Oh yeah, all the time, right? And so
Just lots of little things I find.
and that's the thing, right? I mean, it's the little things that they can add up. I mean, but again, I mean, it is what it is. Let's talk about the headlights. Headlights are great. They have the projector headlights in them. They work great. They light up lots. The trail is nice and bright at nighttime. The downfall is that from about here down gets moisture in it. As you're driving along, you can see that there is moisture getting down in there. So seals may need a little bit of work, but again, I mean, it's just small minor details.
Right, it's just another little thing.
Yeah.
And I found the turn signal relay. One of them's quitting on you too a year later.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Yeah. So
Here, I'll show you. So it's when it has power, it's fine, but you'll notice this guy's clicking off pretty quick, and if he switches it over, so yeah, one of the relays is pretty tired, but
yeah.
it's just I don't think I've ever. How often do you really use your turn signals? Like, really?
Not often, really.
Right, and to have a relay start quitting out that soon, it's pretty surprising to me. But anyway, again, just another little thing. It's not mind-breaking stuff, but just little stuff that you're going to experience if you have one of these. It's just, I don't see them, fixing it anytime soon. Maybe 2021 or 2020 or
Yeah.
2022, who knows? But these are the things that I wanted to get across to people, because they keep commenting on the one video we did of the first impressions, and I just wanted to get that across, that like these things are continuing, these tiny little problems, and you're kind of left to fix it yourself unless you have a good dealership like we have. But I mean, when you buy something new like this, you shouldn't be running into these basic issues.
No, you shouldn't, especially something being brand new. I like to talk about the quality of the metal. The roll cage is awesome.
It is ROP certified,
Yeah.
so it's a real cage, it's tested, it's qualified.
Yeah. When it comes to the door hinges, so there's been a lot of L alignment issues. So I've aligned it the best I could, and then in the alignment, I found that one of the hinges was pretty off. So again, I came over to see Kyle, and he took it all apart for me. And these hinges are actually white metal. They're super soft. I don't know, Kyle, if you want to touch on that.
Yeah, so when I pulled this thing off and I got it into the vise, it's a 1/4 inch thick steel. So I assumed that I was going to need a torch and heat it up a little bit and then just bend it nice and straight and get it square form.
Yep.
When I got it in the vise, I just pushed it with my thumb. And it wasn't even that hard. I just and I bent the metal. So you can tell it's very porous. You can tell it's like some cheap cast, barely aluminum white metal kind of stuff. It's the little things, like, no, that door hinge doesn't have to be the best metal in the world.
No.
It doesn't have to be super crazy, because ultimately, like, this door is like maybe a pound or two. Like, it's incredibly light. There isn't a whole lot going on there. So does it need to be crazy? No, but it's just those little things that get me when it comes to quality of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, using a real metal lighter gauge is what I expected.
Absolutely.
So little details like that get me. It's the little things, like how did that get skipped over? But
that's it. The mirrors. Let's talk about the mirrors.
those are standard, right?
They're standard, right? So how you basically see it is how it comes, minus a couple of the extras that I've added on. The mirrors, you're constantly adjusting them, right? When you're driving along, if you have a passenger, you're constantly saying, oh, you mean, could you pull it in a little bit, push it a little bit up and down, right? They're not the greatest.
Yeah, there isn't a whole lot going on. I can just kind of shove it around, no problem. So you hit a bump or you hit a twig and they're
and they're already on the whack, right? So you might as well just... the roof. The roof is great. The roof is a great construction. The only thing is that it vibrates. Like, it's almost like you're driving in a diesel when it first starts up. It it vibrates like...
Yeah, and it's catching wind. And I mean, these are all tight and they actually have little rubbers and everything to kind of stop that stuff from happening, but it still is. So just little design stuff. CFMOTO isn't a new company. So I'm just surprised that, you know, these units aren't holding up to what North Americans are looking for.
Exactly. Another small little issue is the seatbelt clip.
The seatbelt what?
The seatbelt clip. So the seatbelt, so the latch. There's been times whenever I would try and buckle this and it would not stay in. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of times.
And that's a safety switch too, isn't it?
It's a safety switch, right? Yeah, it's you mean, and even sometimes trying to take it out, right? It can be a bit of a bugger. When you're sitting in it, right? And you're trying to buckle it in. Right. It's in a really low spot. So if they could raise those up a little bit, here's a little higher.
Creature comforts and getting rid of these little problems will really move this company in a new direction.
Absolutely. Kyle, last year we did the Santa Claus parade, and my steering wheel got stuck in the upright position.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so I went to adjust it, and I guess the cylinder something was cool, but when I went to adjust it, it wouldn't stay. It was like
just flopping around.
Yeah, just flopping
and
around.
you had to drive it like that. Didn't I fix that?
You did. This pin, I guess.
The little release pin that allows you to move it.
Yeah, it actually came out. It was, anyways. But the tilt steering, I do like it. The locking steering wheel, good idea. Let's see. The winch. Let's talk about that winch.
Oh, that is an actual issue. Yeah.
So
we're getting a little nitpicky, but this is a big one.
So that's how you operate the winch. You have to open up your glove box.
A lot of you guys will recognize that as an extension port. So if you want to use your winch from afar, that's what that's for. But the problem with this is what, Bobby?
This is the only way to control your winch.
So that's all you get. There's no button?
That's all you get. No button, and then you're with the extension cable. And that's it. So they need to have a button somewhere around here that you can operate the winch from.
Which, you know, you assume these machines would just have that, and that would be the option.
Yep.
But somehow, like, they just didn't want to spend the $1 on a switch and a little bit of a wiring harness. Like, it's those things that get me, the little tiny things. But again, are these problems that are gonna, you know, absolutely ruin your day if you already own one and you haven't experienced them yet? Nah, probably not.
No.
But ultimately, you shouldn't be dealing with them. That's the thing, I think.
Yeah.
So again, this video isn't so we are negative and tear something down and knock CFMOTO. Ultimately, I actually want CFMOTO to work. I think that they are part of the market that needs to exist, and it's good for a lot of people out there that want to ride for different reasons. So I want CFMOTO to succeed as a whole because it gives a whole new edge to the market where other people can exist and do things. And I just wish they would fix these little itty bitty things, even if they have to bump the price to get it done. You know what I mean? So these are some of the things that Bobby and Ann are experiencing with their CFMOTO. And from what I can tell, it's not just his. This isn't like some lemon. I've experienced one we had given to us for the RCA TV club.
Yeah.
So we had that guy. And it was actually worse than this one.
It was worse than it, yeah. Like we had it was a pile of issues.
Just constant and overheating and all these things. So it's not the only one out there. I have other buddies with other CFMOTOs, and they're also having issues and having to use that warranty scheme that they have. And so again, I'd like CFMOTO to work, and I really hope that they do make these minor adjustments to get it all done. So we weren't trying to be negative, but it certainly comes off that way. So when they advertise power and everything, he seems to be happy with it, and Ann's happy with it. So tire life is good, power is good, the comfort is good, but when it's squeaking and little things are falling off and it's rusting, by the way, we never even talked about that. I'm just going to show them real quick. Like all over these A-arms, for example, some of the welds are lackluster and things like that, but I know this is near a tire and stuff, and that's fine, but I can't find this on my Can-Am or my Yamaha or your Can-Am.
No.
So some powder coat issues or what, it's all over the place. Some of them are forgivable, like the shocks, of course, right?
Yeah.
Because, you know, spring steel and everything, it's moving and clanking, and sure, I can get on board with that, but when you see some of these welds and you see some of it just rusting, and I have problems with that.
But one good positive thing that CFMOTO has done, which it's a big deal to me, that the maintenance of this is easy. Everything is greasable. From the upper and lower ball joints, everything on this machine is greasable. Not manufacturers have everything that's greasable. So that is a big kudos to CFMOTO.
One of them is Kawasaki. A friend of mine bought a Terex.
Yeah.
Not one grease point on it.
Really?
Not one. Not on a drive shaft, not on your bushings, nothing. Not a single one. So now they do claim that, you know, you don't have to grease them and stuff like that. They're sealed units and this and that. But personally, I'm a maintenance kind of guy. If you can grease them, that's fine. But some people just don't grease them, and that's why they do that. So anyway, what we're going to do, just go for a little rip, go for a little ride, and, you know, experience the quality that is CFMOTO. It's not all completely disappointing. It is fun to ride. I personally have driven it before, and it is fun. Like, it is. Yeah. So, you know, as long as you're not rolling it. So we're going to wrap this video up. What I want you guys to do is let me know your experience with CFMOTO. That's what I want to know. Are they all like this? Is it just Bobby and I being negative Nancy's in the garage? I don't know. I've experienced a few of them, and they all have problems, so I don't know. I can't speak for the ATVs, for example. So if you have a CFMOTO ATV, tell me about that. Is it the same? Are you having the same common issues? Those are the things that I want to know, because the more I know, the more I can share, and that's what it's all about, is just sharing what we're experiencing with our money, so that hopefully you have more of an educated guess as to where to put it, let's say. So thanks, Bobby, for coming out.
Okay. Thanks, Kyle, for letting me come and do another review of the machine.
So that's the CFMOTO 800 Trail, back in the shop exactly 1 year later, because you guys wanted it. And yeah, let's go get some Timmys.
Let's get some Timmys.
All right. You think I can do it?
I think you can do it. But now that's repeating right there. Ah!
You know what though, all said and done, it is actually really fun to drive.
It is.
Like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
No teabag.
Not baby.
Oh, now it won't let go of the frickin' thing.
Yeah, see what, but so now you see what I mean, Kyle? It's just, yeah, that's annoying.
It's a good thing it's fun to drive.